Where are we going, Doug?
We're going to Duchess Farm.
Where is that?
It's just up the M11, just outside of London. It's our most local farm, and it's a farm that supplies the kind of fundamental ingredients, so the flour and the oil, of which we use a lot of it, and it just really important farm.
I'm Oscar and I farm Duchess Farms. Yeah, mission really is for sort of everything here to be grown, pressed, milled or whatever, pearled or whatever, just do something to the stuff and then sell it.
I think that's a yoga studio, mate.
Yoga studio?
So have you been here before?
I've been here plenty of times. There's a lot of doors, there's a lot of secret rooms. The vegetables over there, the wheat's over there, and then the rapeseed is over here. I think I should stand here because years and years and years before, when we were in Silo, Brighton, and just always been like, if we are going to purchase oil, it's from this farm. If we're going to have wheat, it's from this farm. With the amount of oil that a restaurant uses, you don't want to be importing oil from Italy or further afield. So this is 35 minutes from the restaurant. We use a lot of oil. Rapeseed oil is as sort of natural and sustainable as we can achieve here or in London. There's a number of people that appreciate that nature isn't a one-way system. We can't just take and not give. So regenerative is people farming that realize that you need to invest in that nature for it to keep giving you yield. So like seeing like the soil as a bank, if you keep taking and taking and taking, there'll be nothing left. There will be no product coming from it because that soil will be dead, i.e. there is no money left in the bank. So looking at the soil as a bank, you have to keep investing to keep taking. That is regenerative agriculture.
Hey!
Hi, I'm Abby.
I'm Abby Aspen Glencross, and on the farm I do all the grains bits and bobs. So all things grain and flour, but mainly heritage grains or heirloom grains or alternative grains.
So this is einkorn, but with quite a lot of thistles in. So we're either gonna, it just looks like grass, which is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And I was trying to see if you can I don't know if you can see it. Some of the little fetusy things are starting to come through.
So what will the sheep do?
So they'll fertilise it. They'll eat the weeds. So
They're going to eat the thistles,
Yeah.
which will naturally do your weeding for you.
Yeah.
And then have a little poop, and
Yeah.
that will fertilise the land.
And they help a thing called tillering. So like when you get a wheat seed, it will help like more shoots come off it, so more heads form from one seed.
Like my job is to find people like yourself that have those same values and don't compromise.
This gate isn't, it's tied up now. Swing that gate as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll take that side, so then I'll just do it.
Herding sheep. So we were just here to talk about wheat. This is amazing.
Doug, when's the last time you heard a sheep?
Never. Never ever. I think this is the best thing for me right now. Like yesterday, the news of like doom, and now in a field herding sheep. Sheep therapy.
Come on! Don't let them stop if you can.
No.
What are we doing?
Chasing sheep.
No, but we
They're in a field.
planned, didn't we? We came here for a reason. It's like a hive mind. So the sheep have this like, they're all thinking the same thing, but you're not thinking what one sheep would think. you're thinking what the hive thinks. The psychology of those sheep are like interconnected. No, I just want to give one a hug. My first herd, feels good. Yeah. The key to being a sheep shepherd is moving like a crab and looking them in the eye and talking to them. Be at one with the sheep.
Hello, you're going to be on the Zero Waste Cooking School. How do you feel?
Vic, it's Rod Stewart's house. Do you know any Rod Stewart songs? This is the field of Lisbrun at Duchess Farm. So the grass, the wheat, is in its liminal stages. We have been making the siloaf with 2020's harvest, so the one previous to this crop.
It's an autumn crop, so we plant it in like October. I think it might have just got in November, and then it has a process called vernalisation, where it needs the freezing temperature to form the little grain that you know as like your mill sort of thing. So yeah, and we also have some spring crops, but yeah, this is our main winter wheat.
I kind of like the enthusiasm behind the different wheat varieties in that similar way, and like we go through a spell of using Lisbrun and we're all excited about using einkorn. I was like, oh, I can't wait to use einkorn, and we kind of geek out in a really nice way, and it kind of reinforces this movement to backwards to, you know, heritage grains, and it kind of adds, it's the kind of the important part of the recipe to popularizing natural wheat, you know, like natural wine, but natural wheat.
So we think of certain things having like the place where they come from and sort of heritage behind, heritage in that sense more than heritage in like genetics or the breeding or anything like that. And so we have Lisbrun, which is the Danish grain. It's really popular in a lot of like bakeries in Sweden and anywhere Scandinavia sort of thing. And then we grow Erland's another one, which is a Swedish wheat, and it originates from the island of Erland. Einkorn, same. It's like, I remember we tasted it at Stone Barns in Blue Hill, and we're just like, but then not just tasting it was like the final thing of this thing that's delicious, and it tasted so different from something else I've tried, and it's the wheatiest kind of wheat that I've ever tasted, if that makes sense. I think that bread should be its like own course. It's like it has a whole, this is going to sound so wanky, like flavour profile in itself, but then the kind of other side of it for us is like, yeah, the regenerative agriculture of they don't need sprays, they don't need growth hormones of any sort. They have more resilience to pests, they have diversity in their genetics, you know, all the nerdy science stuff that I love is that's the core of why I do it, but then you just get this beautiful delicious thing at the end of it, which is like this added bonus, and which is a selling point to get more people to buy into it, so that we stop growing shit wheat really.
The sheep that we were herding today are a brilliant thing for the farm for loads and loads of reasons, but a big part of how it came about is this problem about the cabbage stem flea beetle and its larvae.
So that's a flea beetle?
That's a flea beetle larvae, yeah. It's about to become a flea beetle in the spring. And, you know, this is what's becoming really testing, because, you know, I don't want to be chucking insecticides about, and a lot of them don't really do anything anyway for this job.
Right.
So it's futile. Well, the sheep are going to eat it all. Basically, the sheep are going to come in here and completely destroy the crop, and then it'll grow back, and we'll have a perfect crop minus the flea beetle.
So that's quite an important sort of moment or thing to address, is like the working with animals is a kind of superior form of agriculture, whereas if we didn't have those sheep as part of that system, you know, we're struggling for alternatives.
It's almost an unviable crop.
I mean, then we can't have rapeseed, and if we can't have rapeseed, then what oil do we use?
Yeah.
And oil is such a fundamental thing that is such a huge impact on the environment in our food system, then yeah, the sheep just seem such an important part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I learned that I'm part human, part sheep. I am at one with the sheep. Yeah. This is the end of the sheepish transmission.